Hey, thanks for checking out our video. Today I'm going to be talking to you about notes. This is one of my favorite investment methods. So I'm going to share a little bit about what notes are, how they apply to real estate investing, and a couple of things that you should know. Just to give you guys a little background on myself, my name is Frank Lewis. I have a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. I am an active real estate investor here in Southern California. And here are a couple ways that you guys can get in contact with us, either through our blog, mobilehomesinvestors.com, or on Twitter at Frankly Invested. So let's get right into it. What is a note? Notes, you may hear from time to time people speaking about having to pay their car note or their mortgage note. These are general terms for the proper term, promissory note. That is the actual term of the agreement we are referring to. On our next page, we have a definition for promissory note from Merriam-Webster. It states that a promissory note is a written promise to pay at a fixed or determinable future time a sum of money to a specified individual or its bearer. And I actually like the example that Merriam-Webster uses here. Your bank would never lend you money without a promissory note. That is very true. So as we discussed, promissory note is created during any loan transaction with a bank. Promissory note is also created during all seller financing. Some people call this seller carryback financing or owner carryback financing. It goes by numerous terms. Regardless, if you are borrowing money, you should have a promissory note. And large amounts of money that's being borrowed usually is accompanied by collateral. If you are using this money to purchase a car, that car would then be the collateral. If you're using this money to purchase a home, that home would be the collateral. And here's a quick note: when you're borrowing money, your promissory note is the agreement to pay, and you will generally have additional documentation stating what collateral there is. So it's very important for you to always look through all your paperwork when you are doing large transactions, both for the buyer and the seller, or the borrower and the lender. If you are the lender, you want to ensure that you are claiming the correct collateral that you're placing a lien on. And if you are the borrower, you want to ensure that all your documentation is correct. You don't want the documentation to have improper addresses or any types of mistakes that may cause you issues later on down the road. So, why are notes important to real estate investors? Notes are one of my favorite ways of investing and creating cash flow. Our number one reason here is that they are a great opportunity for passive cash flow. Being able to receive monthly income without any large obligations on our part is what I define as passive cash flow. Buy and holds, often things need to be fixed. You have tenants in place, they have needs, whether it's small appliances that stop working or large repairs to the home. As a note buyer, you are not involved with any of those things. You're holding a note that a homeowner is paying. So they are responsible for all those items. They are the owner of the home. You are simply the bank collecting your payment. Our next item, the returns. We often see higher returns than savings accounts. Well, not often, all the time. I have never seen high interest rates in savings accounts. The best rate that I see right now at this time of recording is about 1%. So we often see people with notes upwards of 10%, especially if they are the buyer of a existing note, purchasing that note at a discount. That is upwards of 10%. And that leads us right to our next point, higher returns than stock market averages. We often see higher returns than the stock market. There are people who are getting 15% or more on passive note investing. And this is also not volatile. This is something that you determine at the beginning of your term, and you can negotiate your interest rates, your discount, how much you actually want to pay for the note, and that will be set for the term of the note. It's really amazing to be able to lock in 15% interest for the next 10 years or however long the note will last. If you get into non-performing notes, which we will speak about later, you can see even higher numbers than 15%. And lastly, note investing provides a win-win for both parties. Oftentimes, your seller of the note is looking for capital to do their next active flip or their next business venture. So they're willing to give up their passive income flow so that they can have the capital to go do active projects. And on the buyer side, you can turn your stagnant or stationary funds into a great investment at 10% interest or better. So provides a win-win for both parties. Now, a little bit about performing notes versus non-performing notes. Performing notes have well-qualified borrowers. These borrowers have established a history of on-time payments. This is why they are called performing notes because these notes are being paid monthly. They are in good standings and they are very attractive for that reason. Performing notes will probably be more expensive and your seller will want closer to market value for their performing note. That is because it's guaranteed money. There is a slight risk, but your risk is further minimized with how qualified that borrower is. And speaking of risk, I did say that money is guaranteed, and that may not be the case all the time, but there are situations where the note will actually be guaranteed. You can get a guaranteed note from certain sellers. So don't be afraid to talk about these things, ask questions. You never know until you ask. Non-performing notes are pretty much the opposite of performing notes. These notes are not being paid currently. Your borrower may have credit issues, and because of this, you can probably pick up a non-performing note for far less than market value. These notes are generally not guaranteed. You will often be put in charge of the note completely and have to seek repayment through multiple channels, whether it's contacting the buyer or starting some legal processes to seek those funds. This is not what I would consider passive income. However, there are great returns. You hear people getting 50% returns and possibly even more on non-performing notes. However, it is an active source of income. If you are a long time note investor, you may have systems set up where this can be passive for you as well. But for starting note investors, this will not be a passive income source. our favorite method of investing in notes would be performing notes. That is going to be your most passive form of investing in notes, and in my opinion, one of the most beneficial. Thank you for checking out this video. If you would like to learn more about performing notes, or you would just like to connect and network with investors, feel free to reach out to us on our blog, mobilehomesinvestors.com, or to reach out to me directly on Twitter at Frankly Invested. Thanks a lot.